Dear students, have you enjoyed the poem Echoing Dream? Many of you have sent me the activities. Okay, that's very good. Some other things are also there to make that poem more beautiful. Do you know what are they? Poetic devices or poetic tools. What are the poetic devices? Poetic devices are the tools that make more effect to the poem or more beauty to that poem. Then we can enjoy it very well. Okay. So poetic devices are rhyming pairs, rhyme scheme, alliteration, metaphor, personification, assonance, etc. Now we are going to tell about some the rhyming pairs and alliteration. I think all of you have already learned the rhyming pairs in the 6th standard itself. Now I will give you both in detail. Okay? Okay, all of you look at the very small poem. I have a little frog. I have a little frog. His name is Tiny Tim. I put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. Now let's look at each and every line. I have a little frog. Which is the last word of that line? Frog. His name is Tiny Tim. Last word? Tim. I put him in the bathtub. The last word? Bathtub. To see if he could swim. The last word, that is swim. Okay, now listen. Frog, Tim, bathtub and swim. These are the 4 words at the end of each line. Look at the first word, frog. What is the sound of the last sound of that word? Which is the last sound? Frog. The sound when the sound of the end of that word, which is that frog, g sound, ending with the g sound. Now Tim, the word Tim ending with the sound Tim. And third, bathtub. Bathtub is the word ending with the sound b, bathtub. B. And the last one, swim. The last sound okay. Now, a frog, Tim, bathtub and swim. In these 4 words, which words have the same sound at the end? In these words, which words have the same sound at the end of that words? Okay, very good. Tim and swim. Tim and swim. Both the words have the same ending. That means the same sound. Which is that sound? The sound. Okay, now here in this 4-line poem, the rhyming pairs or rhyming words are Tim and swim. Tim and swim. Okay, these are the rhyming pairs of this poem. Okay. Now let's look at another poem, Catch a Little Rhyme. Okay, I'll read, all of you look at it. Once upon a time, I caught a little rhyme. I set it on the floor, but it ran right out the door. I chased it on my bicycle, but I melted to an icicle. I scooped it up in my hat, but it turned into a cat. I caught it up by the tail, but it stretched into a whale. I followed it in a boat, but it changed into a goat. When I fed it tin and paper, it became a tall skyscraper. Then it grew into a kite and flew far out of his sight. Okay, this is a very beautiful poem. Now look at the first line and second line. Once upon a time, I caught a little rhyme. Which are the words at the end of each line? Time is the last word of that line and rhyme is the last word. Both the words have a same sound at the ending of that word. Time and rhyme. That means sound. Time and rhyme. Both have the same sound at the end. Okay. Now next line. I set it on the floor, but it ran tight out the door. The 2 words floor and door. You don't look at the last letter, but look at the last sound of that word. Last sound. Floor and door both have the same sound. Door and floor. Sound. Okay. Now next, I chased it on my bicycle, but it melted to an icicle. Bicycle and icicle. Both have bicycle and icicle. Okay, both have the same sound at the end of these two words. The next word, I scooped it in my hat, but it turned to a cat. Both cat and hat both have the same sound, t sound. Next, I caught it up by the tail, and but it stretched into a whale. Look at the last word, tail and whale, but both of have different spelling, Tail and Whale. But you don't look at the spelling, you don't look at the letter, alphabets or letter, but you look at the, or mean, you focused on the sound of the last sound of that word. Okay, tail, whale, both have the same sound at the end, sound. Okay, then next I followed it into a boat, but it changed into a got. Boat, got, both have the same sound, t sound. When I flat it in at the paper, it became a tall skyscraper. Paper and skyscraper. Different words are there, but both have different that the spellings are there, but both have the same sound. Paper and skyscraper sound. So these are all the rhyme. These are all also rhyming pairs. Then it grew into a kite and flew far out of his sight. Kite, sight. Different different words, different spelling, but different pronunciation, but the same sound at the end. Kite, sight, to sound. Okay, now these are the underlined words. These are the rhyming pairs of this poem. Okay. Now let's come to our poem, The Echoing Green. Look at the first stanza of that Echoing Green poem. The sun does rise and make happy the skies, the merry bells ring to welcome the spring. The skylark and thrush, the birds of the bush, sing loud around to the bell's cheerful sound, while our spots shall be seen on the echoing green. Okay, now let's check the rhyme. Are there any rhyming pairs in this stanza? Look at the first line, the sun does rise. Now you please underline the last word of each line. Okay. Rise, skies. Ring, spring. Thrush, bush. Round, sound. Sweet, green. Now let's look at each one. The sun does rise. Skies. Rise, skies. These are the two words at the end of that two lines. Skies, arise. Both have the same sound at the end. Skies, arise, sound. Okay. Now next, spring, ring, spring. Different words, different spelling, but the same sound at the end. Ring, spring, sound. Okay. Next, thrush, bush. Both have the same sound at the end, sh sound. Thrush, bush. Round, sound. Both have the same sound, nd sound. And shall be seen, green. Both have the same sound, in. Okay, now these are the rhyming pairs. Now how can you write it? Now these are the rhyming pairs. Next rhyming pairs here, next here, here and here. Okay, now you write it down in your notebook as pairs. Pairs ആയിട്ടാണ് നിങ്ങൾ എഴുതേണ്ടത്. Arise എഴുതുക, അതിൻ്റെ താഴെ skies എഴുതുക. Now together you may write these are the pairs. And next ഓരോ പെയർ ആയിട്ടാണ് നിങ്ങൾ എഴുതേണ്ടത്. Okay? Okay, now look at the second stanza and third stanza. That is for, then you should do that, which are the rhyming pairs of these two stanza. Okay, that's the homework for you. First of all, find out the last word of each line and check whether they have the same sound or not, and underline these two and write it down in your notebook as pairs. Okay, thank you. Okay, now let's look at another poem that's somewhat different. Okay, I'll read it, all of you look at it. Tigers. Tim the terrifying tiger tiptoes through tangled trees, his twitching tail thumping, his terrible teeth terrifying turtles. Who tumbled away? How do you feel when I recite it? And how do you feel when you recite it? Yes, somewhat interesting, isn't it? Why you felt that is so interesting? Something special is there, isn't it? Which is the feature of that small poem? അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത ഉണ്ട്, നമുക്കതൊരു ഫീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, ഒരു ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആയിട്ട് ഫീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്? സംതിങ് സ്പെഷ്യലായിട്ട് എന്തോ സംതിങ് ഇസ് ദ isn't it? What is it? Now a sound is repeating. A sound is repeating. Now let's once again. Tim the terrifying tiger. That is the first line. Tim the terrifying tiger. Okay, which look at the first. Tim the terrifying tiger. These are the words. Now Tim, what is the sound of that? Which is the first sound of that word? T sound. Terrifying. The first sound, that is T. And tiger, the first sound, that is T. But there is another word, the. But the letter is T. T തന്നെയാണ് അവിടുത്തെ ലെറ്റർ. ബട്ട് അതിൻ്റെ സൗണ്ട് ട് എന്നല്ല വരുന്നത്, ദ എന്നാണ് വരുന്നത്. ദ സൗണ്ടാണ് വരുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ടീക്ക് പ്രത്യേകതയില്ല. ബട്ട് ടിം, ടെറിഫയിങ്, ടൈഗർ, these three words have the same sound at the starting. Okay, now let's look at the second line. Tiptoes through tangled trees. Tiptoes. T sound is the tiptoes. First sound, that is T. Through. That is not through. T sound. Tangled. T sound. Trees. T sound. All the words have the same sound. T. Through. T sound ആണ്. എല്ലാത്തിനും T sound ആണ് വരുന്നത്. എല്ലാം T ആണെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ സ്പെല്ലിംഗ് അല്ല നോക്കേണ്ടത്, സൗണ്ട് ആണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. All the words have the T sound. Starting at the starting, T sound. Next, his twitching tail thumping. His twitching, T sound again, starting T sound, tail and thumping. No, the letter is T. T ആണ് അവിടുത്തെ ലെറ്റർ, ബട്ട് അവിടുത്തെ സൗണ്ട് T sound അല്ല, the sound ആണ്. So now let's leave it. Now we can take twitching tail. His terrible teeth terrifying. All the three words have the same starting sound. Terrible, teeth, terrifying. Both have the same. And turtle. The next are also turtle. The last one, who tumbled. That's also the T sound. Okay, now let's look each and every line. For each line, in each line, we can see that the same sound of the word starting. Each word, the starting of each word, the same sound is there. എല്ലാ വേർഡിൻ്റെയും ഒരു ലൈനാണ് നമ്മൾ എടുക്കേണ്ടത്. ഒരു ലൈനിൽ എത്ര വേർഡ്സ് ഉണ്ടോ അതിൻ്റെ എത്ര വേർഡ് സെയിം സൗണ്ടോടുകൂടി സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു നോക്കുക. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ എലിട്രേഷൻ. That is the alliteration. Alliterations are, that is the repeating sound, not a word or not a letter. That is the repeating sound of adjacent words. Adjacent words എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അടുത്തടുത്ത വേർഡ്സിന് സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ്ങിലുള്ള സൗണ്ട് സെയിം ആയി വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ alliteration. നമ്മൾ ഏതൊരു പോയം എടുത്ത് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഓരോ ലൈൻ നോക്കുക, ഹൗ മെനി വേർഡ്സ് ആർ ദർ and how many words have the same sound starting. Okay, here is a very simple poem. Ghost. Glide across the golden grass gathering, globins and grabbing grasshoppers, they giggle as they glide above the ground. Look at the lines. Now here is the poem playing with a sound, G sound. Am I correct? Now, a lot of words are there which have the starting sound G. Glide across the golden grass gathering. Glide, golden, grass, and gathering. All these four words have the same sound at the starting. No, you don't look at the letter, but you concentrate on the sound of that word. Sound of that words. ആ വേർഡിൻ്റെ സൗണ്ട് എങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ സ്പെൽ ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. ആ സൗണ്ടാണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. All the words have the same sound G. Goat blinks and grabbing grasshoppers. That's also the same sound G. They giggle as they glide above the ground. Okay? I think all of you clear it. Now listen. G sound all have the same sound. Okay? I think all of you got the point. Right. Now look at another poem, Soap Hope. Now from this poem, you should find out which are the rhyming pairs and also you should find out the alliteration. Okay? രണ്ട് ടാസ്കും നിങ്ങൾ ഇതേ സെയിം പോയത്തിലൊന്ന് ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചു നോക്കുക. Now look at the first. നമ്മൾ റൈം പെയേഴ്സ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുമ്പോൾ അഡ്ജസൻറ്റ് ലൈൻസ് തന്നെ, അതായത് ഫസ്റ്റും സെക്കൻഡ് ലൈന് തേർഡ് ഫോർത്ത് ലൈൻ അങ്ങനെ തന്നെ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കണം എന്നില്ല. ഒരു സ്റ്റാൻസയിൽ സെയിം എൻഡിങ് വരുന്ന സെയിം സൗണ്ടിൽ എൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന വേർഡ്സ് ഉണ്ടായാൽ മതി. ചിലപ്പോൾ അത് ഫസ്റ്റ് സെക്കൻഡിലും ആയിരിക്കാം, ചിലപ്പം ഫസ്റ്റിലും തേർഡിലും സെക്കൻഡിലും ഫോർത്തിലും ആവാം, ചിലപ്പോൾ ഓരോ ഫോർ ലൈൻസിൻ്റെയും നാലാമത്തെ ലൈനിലായിരിക്കാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് ഫോർ ലൈൻസിൽ നാലാമത്തെ ഫസ്റ്റ് ലൈനും നാലാമത്തെ ലൈനും ആവാം, അങ്ങനെ ആവാം. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ അടുത്തടുത്ത് തന്നെ വരണം എന്നില്ല. അത് പിന്നെ റൈമിങ് പേഴ്സിൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ. എലിട്രേഷൻ അങ്ങനെയല്ല, എല്ലാ അടുത്തടുത്ത വേർഡ്സിലും സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ്ങിലുള്ള സൗണ്ട് ആയിരിക്കണം. അതൊരൊറ്റ ലൈനിലാണ് നമ്മൾ നോക്കേണ്ടത്. എലിട്രേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒറ്റ ലൈനിൽ നോക്കുന്ന ഓരോ വേർഡ്സിൻ്റെയും സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ് സൗണ്ടാണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. But in the rhyming pairs, you should look at the end of each line and find out where are the rhyming pairs or where are the sound ending, which are the words ending with the same sound in each line. ഓരോ ലൈനിലും ഏത് സൗണ്ടിലാണോ നമ്മൾ ഒരേപോലെ എൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അതാണ് നമ്മൾ പെയേഴ്സ് ആക്കി എടുക്കേണ്ടത്. Now here let's look at, I'm standing, and first look at the rhyming pairs. I'm standing in the shower and today I have to scope with a slimy slice of skinny, slippery, flimsy, dripping soap. Now here shower, cope, slice, slippery and soap. ഇതിൽ ഏത് വേർഡ്സിനാണ് സെയിം സൗണ്ട് എൻഡിങ് ഉള്ളത്? യെസ്, cope and soap. Now these are the rhyming pairs. Now below താഴോട്ടേക്ക് നോക്കൂ. I try to grip the sudsy strip to scrub my cruddy self, and when I am clean I slide the sleeve on a corner shelf. Now self and shelf, these are the rhyming pairs. അങ്ങനെ താഴോട്ടേക്ക് നോക്കാം. Now let's look at the alliteration. Look at the first line. I'm standing in the shower. Here are a lot of words are there. Standing, I am in the shower. Now here the first letter S, starting with the sound S sound. But here last word also have the same starting letter. എസ് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ് തുടങ്ങുന്നത്. ബട്ട് വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദ സൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ് ലെറ്റർ? ഷ് സൗണ്ട്. സോ ഇതും എലിട്രേഷൻ അല്ല, ബിക്കോസ് സെയിം ലെറ്റർ ആണെങ്കിലും ബട്ട് ദോസ് ഹാവ് ദ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് സൗണ്ട്. വൺ ഈസ് സ് സൗണ്ട്, another is ഷ് സൗണ്ട്. So these are not the alliteration. Look at the next one. And today I have to cope. There are no alliteration line. With a slimy slice. Slimy and slice. S starting with, and both have the same sound too. രണ്ടിനും ഒരേ ലെറ്ററുമാണ്, സെയിം സൗണ്ടുമാണ്. സ് സൗണ്ട് is there. Slimy, slice. So that is an alliteration line. and of skinny, slippery. Here also same sound, s sound is startingly same sound on. So there is also alliteration. Flimsy, dripping soap. I try to grip the sudsy strip. Sudsy, s sound here too. Okay, അവിടെയും സെയിം ലെറ്റർ ആണ്. ട്രൈ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്, ലെറ്റർ തുടങ്ങുന്നുണ്ട് ദ, ബട്ട് ദ ട്രൈ ദ സൗണ്ട് ഈസ് ട് സൗണ്ട്, ദ സൗണ്ട് ഈസ് ദ സൗണ്ട്. അത് രണ്ടും alliteration അല്ല, ബട്ട് സഡ്സി ആൻഡ് സ്ട്രിപ്പ് ദാറ്റ്സ് എ alliteration. ടു സ്ക്രബ് മൈ crudzy self. Scrub, s sound here also s. And when I am clean, I slide the sleeve on a corner shelf. Tomorrow when I shower. Now look at the last line also. നിങ്ങൾ അവിടെ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്, നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണിത്. നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക. I will give you the task. Okay. Okay, now listen. This poem, a bear in the. Okay, bye. Now there is a polar bear in our Frigidaire. He likes it cause it's cold in the, with his seat in the meat and his face in the fish and his big hairy paws in the buttery dish. He's nibbling the noodles, he's munching the rice, he's slurping the soda, he's licking the eyes, and he lets out a roar if you open the door, and it gives me a scare to know he is there, that polary bear in our Frigidaire. Okay, now in this poem, let's look at both rhyming pairs and alliteration. Here, the last word, rhyming pairs നമ്മൾ എപ്പോൾ നോക്കുമ്പോഴും ഓരോ ലൈനിൻ്റെയും ലാസ്റ്റ് വേർഡ് മാത്രമേ നോക്കാവൂ. പിന്നെ ഇൻറ്റേർണൽ റൈം ഉണ്ട്, അത് ഞാൻ പിന്നെ നെക്സ്റ്റ് പോയത്തിൽ പറയാം. ഹിയർ ലുക്ക് അറ്റ് ഈച്ച് ലൈൻ. ബെയർ, ഫ്രിജിഡെയർ, എയർ സൗണ്ട്. Now these are the rhyming pairs. Now fish, dish. Here rice, eyes. Row, door. Scare, bear. Bear, dare. Lot of rhyming pairs are there. You may write. എഴുതുമ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയാക്കി എഴുതണം. നിങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങനെയാക്കി എഴുതണം. നോട്ട്ബുക്കിൽ എഴുതുമ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ പേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ട് താഴെയായിട്ടാണ് എഴുതേണ്ടത്. Okay, now let's look at the alliteration. There is a polar bear in our Frigidaire. He likes it cause it's cold in there. Cause, now first line, second line alliteration ഇല്ല. Third line, he likes it cause it's cold in there. Now listen, cause, the sound, C is the letter and cold, C is the letter, but the sound both have the same sound, k sound, cause, cold. With a seat in the meat, there are no alliteration line, which is that is not an alliteration line. Next line, fifth line noku, and his face in the fish. Here the letter F, here again the letter F, but both have the same sound, f sound. Sound ആണ് നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കേണ്ടത്. അത് alliteration ആണെങ്കിലും rhyming pairs ആണെങ്കിലും sound ആണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. Now face, fish, the same sound, f sound. Now and his big hairy paws. His, അതിൽ h ഉണ്ട്, sound hairy. Now the sound h sound is there. Letter is h, the sound is h. Now nibbling noodles, n sound. The same sound repeating in the single line. ഓരോ ലൈനുമാണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. അടുത്തടുത്ത ലൈന് നമ്മൾ നോക്കാൻ പാടില്ല. ഒരൊറ്റ ലൈനിൽ ഏതെല്ലാം റിപ്പീറ്റിംഗ് സൗണ്ട് ഉണ്ട് എന്നാണ് നോക്കേണ്ടത്. നൗ യു ലുക്ക് ഈച്ച് ആൻഡ് എവറി ലൈൻ ബിലോ. ഓക്കെ, okay, now look at our poem, The Echoing Green, first stanza. Now in this stanza you should find out which are the alliteration lines also. നിങ്ങൾ നേരത്തെ ഇതേ സെയിം സ്റ്റാൻസ് ഞാൻ റൈമിംഗ് പേഴ്സ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു. ദെൻ അതേപോലെ യു ഷുഡ് find out which are the alliteration line in this the first stanza. Okay, and you should find out the alliteration lines in the second and third stanza too. Okay, thank you very much.